Hello everyone, I'm teacher Yijie. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. So in this video, I'm going to talk about key knowledge point from NMOS, which is the average problem. So let's have a look. So a test with a maximum marks of 10 was administered to a class. Some of the results are shown in the table below. It is known that the average mark of those scoring more than 3 is 7, while the average mark of those getting below 8 is 5. Given that none score 0. So what is the number of people in the class? So how do we solve this question then? We are given 2 average scores here. How do we do this? So no worry guys, let's start with a very simple example first. So at Kangaroo Study, we have one of our teacher called Teacher Smith. So Teacher Smith has 16 reward cards, and let's try to draw a bar graph for it. So this is the 16 reward card. Then we have a group of students, but we do not know the number of students. And each of the students, they have 4 reward cards. So now, we want everyone to have an average of 6 reward cards. So how do we find how many students are there? So when we think about the average problem, right? We will think of the formula of average. But in this case, it seems like the formula is not helpful. So now, for Teacher Smith to have 6 reward cards, you can see that Teacher Smith initially already has 16 reward cards. So we just have to take the extra reward card from him, right? So how many extra reward cards I have to take from Teacher Smith? So we can just use 16 minus 6, and the answer is 10. So this part of the bar, it is 10. So now we take the 10 reward cards from Teacher Smith, and we give it all to the student. So how many cards do I have to give each of the student? It is actually very obvious, just 2 reward cards, since each of the students initially have 4 reward cards. So we use 6 minus 4, we have 2. And now, we know that we have to give each of the students 2 reward cards, and that is a total of 10 extra cards. So how do we find the number of students? So it is just 10 divided by 2, which is 5 students. So what we are doing here is, we take from the extra part and we give it to the lacking part. And we know that both parts, they will be the same. So this concept right here is what we call rob the rich, right? Rob the rich. So now let's go back to our question. Alright, so from the question, we know that the average mark of those scoring more than 3 is 7. So let's mark it on the table. And we also know that the average mark of those getting below 8 is 5. So let's also mark it on the table. But now, how do we solve this question then? So you can see that in this average problem, it seems like we also cannot solve it using the formula of average, right? Which means that we can try to draw the bar diagram, right? So now let me remove the question so that we have more space for the solution. Right, let's start drawing the bar diagram. But now in this case, there is an overlapping at the middle here. So what do we do? So what we can do here is we can actually just separate them out. So let's just start from the score of 1 to 3. So how many people are there? So we can actually get it from the table. So we just use 1 plus 3 plus 6 and we get 10. Next, we have to draw the line for the average of 5. How should we draw it then? Since the average includes the unknown part in the middle, right? Which is the people with the highest score. So now that they are separated out, so the average line will be just slightly higher than the first group of people, right? So next, let's try to draw the middle unknown group of the people, right? So the bar will be just slightly higher than the average of 5. And we didn't know about the number of the people, which is something that we are trying to find. Then we have the score from 8 to 10. So let's draw the bar. So how many people are there? So we can just use 4 plus 6 plus 3. And we have 13, right? 13. For the average line of 7, we just draw it a little bit lower than the final group of people. And we are done with drawing our diagram here. So now, since we have just learned about the concept of rob the rich, let's try to apply it here, right? So let's first look at the first and the middle group of people. So for the 2 groups to have the average of 5, we take from the extra part and give it to the lacking part. And we know that both parts, they are the same. But now, it seems like we are not able to calculate what will be the extra part. So we look at the lacking part. So how do I find what is the score for this lacking part? So maybe you can try to find how much score do I have to give each of the people for them to reach the average score of 5. So for that, let's try to find out what is the current total score. So based on the table, we can just use 1 times 1 plus 3 times 2 plus 6 times 3, and we have 25. Now for the average score, we can just use 25 divided by 10, and we have 2.5. Now we know the average score of this group of people is just 2.5. So how much score do I have to give each of the people? So we just use 5 minus 2.5, and we also get 2.5. So now each of them, I have to give 2.5. So the total score that I give this group of people is just simply 2.5 times 10, and we have 25. So we know that the lagging part of is 25, which means that the extra part is also 25. So now let's look at the middle and the last group of people now. So to make both the groups to have the average of 7, we also have to take the extra part and give it to the lagging part. So now let's try to find what is the extra part. So for that, we'll need to calculate the total score of this group. So from the table, we know that we can just use 4 times 8 and 6 times 9 and then 3 times 10. Then we have 116. And then the average score is just 116 divided by 13. And since it has a lot of decimals, so we just leave it as a fraction first. So which is 116 over 13. And now we know that the average is 116 over 13. So how do we find the score do I have to take from each of the people? So I can just use 116 over 13 minus out with 7. Then we will have 116 over 13 minus 91 over 13. Then we will have 25 over 13. So the total score that is taken from this group of people, it is just 25 over 13 multiplied by 13. And we have 25. So now we know that the extra part is 25 and the lacking part is also 25. So now for the middle group of people, we found that the total score that we have to give to them is 25 plus 25, which is 50. So from the average of 5 to average of 7, how many scores do I have to give each of them? It is just simply 7 minus out 5, we have 2. So now that we know a total of 50 scores have to be given, and we have to give each of the students 2 scores. So to find the number of people, we can just use 50 divided by 2, and we have 25. So now guys, in this question, what do we want? We want to find the total number of people. So we just use 10 plus 25 plus 13, and we have 48, which is our final answer over here. So now let's try to summarize what we are learning in this question. So when we have this kind of question, which is an average problem, the concept that we use is known as the rob the rich. So whereby we take from the extra part and we give it to the lacking part. And we know that these two parts, they are the same, right? So now you can try to do this practice question, and you can leave your answer in the comment section below, right? So that's all for this video. So you can join our WhatsApp group for more information about our activity, right? So see you in the next video. Bye bye.